3 more weeks left in the NFL regular season, and guys, we are here to break down your top games from a point spread perspective, because that's what the Countdown to Kickoff show is all about. I'm Al DeMarco along with Brandon Lang, and Brandon, let's get busy with what I would say is not exactly a key NFC showdown, but it should be an interesting game nonetheless, because you certainly have parity. 2 bad teams, the Giants and the Redskins. New York just snapped a 7-game losing streak with the win at Tennessee. They're a solid 7-point favorite, which I guess is all you really deserve to be after you just snapped the 7-game losing streak.
Well, I think on one side of the coin, you got one team that likes each other. And on the other side of the coin, you got another team that doesn't like each other. And you got a defensive coordinator that's not liked by his defensive players. And you got an offensive team that doesn't like their quarterback, who's friends with the owner. And it's just chaos in Washington. But the Giants showed me something, and man, did they show me something. You lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars, blowing a 21-0 lead on 2 fumble returns for a touchdown in the second half. Losing season, no playoffs, nothing to play for, on the road again at Tennessee. And Tom Coughlin once again showed why he's a Hall of Fame football coach. He got his team ready to play, and they blew Tennessee out. Now back home, in front of the home crowd, you got major problems in Washington. I don't know if Jay Gruden's going to be back. I think he washes his hands of Daniel Snyder and rides off in the sunset, sets out a year and gets another head coaching gig. Because the whole RG3 situation, Al, is just taking that team down the drain. I will lay it in this ball game all day long, especially with a Washington team that comes off a 24-0 shellacking to the Rams at home last week.
Hey, listen, I would lay 10 in this spot with Big Blue. That's how dysfunctional the Washington Redskins are, who also are playing their 3rd game in 4 weeks. And remember, early in the season, it was Kirk Cousins at quarterback. Everything was seemingly going well for the Redskins. Giants came down to Washington and absolutely destroyed them in that first meeting, 45-14. And they were the 3-point dog in that Week 4 meeting. 31-17 advantage in first downs, 449 total yards. And when I look at the box scores last week, and actually the last few weeks, I think the Redskins offensive line, doesn't matter if it's RG3, doesn't matter if it's Colt McCoy, no protection, 29 sacks allowed the last 5 weeks. And you got a Giants team that rediscovered their pass rush with 8 sacks of the Tennessee quarterbacks last week. In fact, they knocked out Zach Mettenberger for the year with a shoulder injury. So I've got to go with the Giants. And FYI, Giants, all 4 of their wins this year by double-digit margins. So we are definitely in agreement there. This next game, kind of interesting. Indianapolis -7 at home against Houston. Now, the Texans were my best bet last week when they were Jacksonville. When they were down 13-10 halftime and I'm laying 5.5 points, let me just say I was a little concerned. They did rally to win that game 27-13, but I'd have a hard time putting my money on the Houston Texans for a 2nd straight week, especially at Indianapolis.
Yeah, it's funny. You know, Indy kind of sleptwalked their way through the matchup with Cleveland and a couple of big turnovers, and that led to points for Cleveland. And then late in the game, a lot of people laying 3 in that football game. And for some reason, Indy scored to make it 21-16, went for 2 there instead of waiting. Then they score again to go up 25-24, and they can't get the 2 there to get all the Indy backers the push. And so now coming into this week, here comes Ryan Fitzpatrick back on the road in a tough place to play, where he's going to have to match points. I don't care how good Houston's played in the first meeting. Indy went in there, jumped out to the huge lead. Houston came back at home. But on the road in this situation, the momentum off the road win at Cleveland and the way they won that football game and the emotions in the locker room coming back home, I want to use Houston in this game. But it's a tough spot with Indy coming back home. You could be on the wrong side of a blowout. You see the way Indy just puts pressure on you to score points. They're going to get into the 30s no matter how good Houston's defense is playing. Can the Texans put up 20 on Indy and Indy? I don't think they can. I'm not a big chalk guy. You know me. I'm a big dog guy. But in this situation, I would look for Indy to get off the schneid and figure out a way to win this game by 10 or more. Who do you trust, Andrew Luck or Ryan Fitzpatrick? I think at the end of the day, it's Andrew Luck.
Ain't that the truth? I mean, it couldn't have been better said. I mean, listen, Andrew Luck, 363 yards passing in the first go-round back on October 9th. Colts have covered 5 of their last 6 at home. And, you know, with Andrew Luck at quarterback, they are 4-1 straight up and against the spread against the Texans. And in those 5 games, all Luck has done, 12 touchdown passes versus 2 interceptions. And this being a division game, You know what the Colts have done against a very weak division. I mean, they have won and covered 11 straight games against division rivals, average winning margin 16 points a game, and they're 14-2 against the spread off their last 16 games in which they failed to cover. But here's a proposition for you. I can go with Indianapolis as well. But here is the perfect teaser opportunity. I would put the Colts with the Giants because, again, two-team teaser, 6 points. All I need is these two teams to win outright at home. Now, true, the Giants have lost 7 out of 8, but I just don't see the Redskins going in there and beating them. So my free pick would be the Colts-Giants teaser.
I like it. I like it. You know, it just goes to show you how impressive that Washington win at Dallas, or how still a head scratcher on how Washington with Colt McCoy ever went into Dallas and beat that team outright with as bad as they're playing now. That's a great teaser with the Giants and the Indy Colts.
Okay, last game is Green Bay and Buffalo. We saw the Packers play two different halves, of course, on Monday night against the Falcons, 31-7 at halftime. Reasonable expectations. You're laying 13.5 points. You feel pretty good. I did not feel pretty good after the second half of that game was played, since I had the Packers that night. Some of the guys at the site, including Matt Rivers, had a monster play on the first half with the Packers, obviously walked away with the win, and yet the Packers were still there. I mean, and I'm doing the math as all good gamblers do as the game goes on. The minute Mason Crosby has that extra point attempt blocked, and I'm going, oh, this is doom. This is doom. It's a 16-point lead at that point, not 17 points. I'm going, Falcons scored, then suddenly you don't cover by a half. So when the Falcons scored with like 2 minutes to go, I didn't even give a damn. At that point, the cover was already out the window. But I think this is a difficult spot for a Packers team that is, I think, 4-1 against the spread on the road this season. And they have failed to cover in their last 4 games following a Monday night game. And this time they're on the road. So I was hoping I would have gotten more points. I was hoping the Packers would be a 7. But at 5, it's a tough game, I have to admit.
I'll tell you what, it just goes to show you how crazy this NFL season is. And you look at Atlanta, 4-8 going into that 5-8 going into that football game. They do something that Tom Brady and the Patriots couldn't. New England struggled offensively to put up 21 points, and then they have the ball at the 20 with 3 minutes at Green Bay's 20 with 3 minutes to go, and Tom Brady can't get it in the end zone. Here's Matt Ryan and the Atlanta Falcons, who all 4 times they got to the 20-yard line in the second half of that football game, they scored. And so if you were going to tell me that Matt Ryan and the Atlanta offense would shred the Packer defense where New England didn't, I'd say you're crazy. But it just goes to show you that when I had New England in that game over Green Bay, I was right on the money. And for whatever reason, maybe Belichick was holding something back. He'll see Green Bay somewhere down the road. Didn't want to unveil everything. That's the only thing I can think about, because I've said it all year long. That Green Bay defense can be had. They struggled on the road at Detroit 19-7. Needed last-second heroics by Rodgers on 2 fourth-down pickups against Miami. Team that got beat at Seattle. This is a team that struggles on the road away from Lambeau. And as good as they've been at Lambeau, is as bad as this football team has been on the road this year. And after what they did to me on Monday night, bend over, grab your ankles, and sing Kumbaya. I was 10-3 going into Monday night. I laid it. I said I would not lose with Atlanta. And Aaron Rodgers and McCarthy figured out a way to screw me again. And, of course, the Packer defense. So just out of spite and revenge and anger, this is my lose your objective game of the day. I'm taking Buffalo plus the points just because I want to see Green Bay lose. But I do like Buffalo plus the points.
Well, hey, look, as bad of a backdoor cover that the Falcons pulled off, it paled in comparison to what the Bills did at Denver. 14 unanswered points in the fourth quarter. Denver was laying 10, up comfortably ahead, and then Kyle Orton with a 1-yard touchdown run, 55 seconds to go to make it a 7-point game and cost all the Denver backers straight up. And if I told you going into the Denver Buffalo game that both quarterbacks would have 2 picks, but one guy would be 14 for 20 for 173 yards, and the other guy 38 for 57 for 355 yards. No one in their right mind would have said Orton would have had the better numbers. But the fact is, he's giving the Bills a chance to win. Their defense has been so strong, especially with that pass rush, 46 sacks through 13 games. And listen, we saw Aaron Rodgers, yes, he's a mobile quarterback. He can move in that pocket, move up, but he certainly is not playing behind a great offensive line. I proposition you on this one. What do you think of the total in this game? I'm looking at 50, and I know the Bills have stayed under in 11 out of 13 games this year because, A, of that defense, and B, because, well, their offense, really, Orton's had some big numbers, but they haven't been able to do much in terms of the red zone this season. So I'm thinking maybe an under here of 50 points.
Think about this. In their loss to Detroit earlier this year, 19-7, Green Bay had 9 possessions in the game. Only 3 times did they cross midfield in that football game. So we get so caught up in there, as Jim Irsay says, their Star Wars numbers at Lambeau. This is still a team that has been lethargic on the road. They were lethargic a few weeks ago at Minnesota as well. So most certainly weather could be a factor. Look for Buffalo's defense to match up well. I could see an under, but I could also see Buffalo. It's one of those games where if you're in a knockout pool and you use Green Bay, I'd be a little nervous because this is a game where I could see Buffalo shocking the world on Sunday. I really could.
Well, last Sunday, I cashed in with my best bet on the Texans. You hit another 150 dime play with the Arizona Cardinals, who, by the way, you and Bruce Arians, it's just amazing the way you guys are on the same page. I think you have won 8 out of 9 100 dime NFL plays, 3 times, winning with the Arizona Cardinals. You lost that one play after 8 straight winners with the Packers-Patriots game. Come right back with a bigger play. What was that, 150 dime winner number 7 in a row for you?
Number 7 in a row with Arizona. And again, the value play with them at home. And the great thing about that is going for the highest rated play during the regular season that I do, being a 150 dimer. People who took advantage of the one-day free all-access pass got that selection for free. And it's a $1,200 value that you go to the website on Sunday. You definitely want to wait till Sunday with the majority of college football being over. There's really no better day to get 12 best bets absolutely free. No hassle, no registration, $1,200 of free picks from all 12 handicappers. And had you done that last Sunday, you would have got the 150 dimer number 7 in a row. So it's a great way to get on the site and see we know what we're talking about. I think it's the best value out there, pound for pound.
Hey, and bottom line is this, the one-day free all-access pass literally means it's free. There are no strings attached, and you have said it many times, in a business where most people are always asking you for something up front, wanting your money, wanting your phone number, wanting whatever, your firstborn, your second mortgage. We don't want anything. We don't want anything. Just come to the site, check out the one-day free all-access pass. My best bet, Brandon's best bet, the best bet of all 12 handicappers. As he said, well over $1,000 worth of action for free. You would have gotten both of our Sunday winners a week ago for free. If you didn't take advantage of it, do it now. As I always say, the only way you lose is if you don't take advantage. And to recap today's show, I think we both are in agreement. The Giants, no matter the number, we're willing to lay it with Washington. I have a little agita about the Indianapolis game. I think the Colts, Giants, and a teaser is a great way to go. You have no problems with laying the points with the Colts, and I think you said you were looking maybe a 10-point win. And then the Packers game with Buffalo, I lean toward the under. And which way do you want to go with your official free pick?
I'm going to take Buffalo, and don't be surprised to see the Bills shock the world on Sunday.
And remember, guys, you can catch my daily video report and Brandon's daily video report for free 7 days a week over at the site. That's all you've got to do. And again, no registration required, no purchase necessary. Until next week, this is Al DeMarco along with Brandon Lang, and this is the Countdown to Kickoff. We wish you well and hope you make a lot of money this weekend. Good luck, guys.